People, we back again. We're back again with you. And of course, the only way we know how to welcome her. The only way we know how to welcome her. In the building. Queen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm here.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I must say, it does feel like we are in the second half of the year. So, Umtu has to make sure that they make an effort now in getting themselves through some of the days.
You know what I appreciate about you? I would be lost and not know what on earth is happening. But as soon as we have this episode, I know that I'm going to know what the hell is going on. Yeah. Otherwise, how's the queen been?
No, look, I've been good. Excited to tell you a little bit about what I got up to with the foundation.
I saw it.
And I must shout out. I am so sad that I missed that episode. No Z. Yes. I did catch a glimpse of that, and just want to say again, very proud of the work that you guys did, Payam Tata. Yeah, amazing, and inspiring work, of course.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, and we're not done yet. We're still plotting and planning. She did, I think, last week or week before. She was feeding the homeless in Cape Town, and every second week it's going to happen up until the end of winter.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about that. Why am I?
How have you been? What's going on?
You know another thing. Have you ever seen me? Have you ever seen me?
Situations going on. What's going on with me?
Have you ever seen me wearing into ezimfuma ezishushu ezifudumeleyo?
The weather just took. I think it's London. I think London, guys. I just want to say, the weather and it's very cold, and it's been jabs of cold weather. Today is one of those again. Very cold.
It's just been crazy. Been crazy. If you are watching, you can send us a voice note. You can also send us a video clip of your opinions about what we're gonna be talking about. It's been a very crazy one, Queen.
In fact,
I'm sure you guys are happy that I had the rant without you in the space. So
yes.
Because I was fighting last week. Like, what the hell? And I wasn't the only one. South Africans are just upset. South Africans are just mad. I think over and above this thing that we are always made a part of, decisions that government takes about criminality in this instance, like we have to see through these processes and all of these things, it's very crazy. And it's just disheartening, man, to work so hard and then to halfway learn allegedly that the very same people who are leading you are responsible for all kinds of shit. But anyway, I was here all by myself, so I had that rant all by myself, like and this it's not like this week is any different though.
There's always a tantrum that we must throw, apparently, so that we can survive for our own sanity.
So we can know what's going on.
So that we know what's going on, and so that we can also be able to process and let's just vent it out. It's important.
I think for me, it's the expectation from government that we are not supposed to be upset. We
Yeah.
are not supposed to express that anger. We are in a democracy. We are free to express ourselves, and
Yes.
obviously within reason, and obviously responsibly. When we do that. But if you can get that the feel in the entire country, is because everybody's just tired of lawlessness. Remember
Yes.
that when I was watching the videos from different news sources about the march that they had in Durban, for an example, there were companies that came together. It was black, white people, yes, regardless of who organized the march, but it was the Rainbow Nation. It was people of South Africa saying that we're not even complaining about service delivery. We're not even complaining about things that are not happening. We are just tired
Tired.
of crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, just to swing off out of that for a little while, we're gonna get to a story that actually has that. But first up for me is this story right here. I'm sure the viewer is gonna be able to see it on the ticker there at the bottom. The former
Yeah.
Limpopo premier, finally a man at 68 years. Now, this is the deputy minister, by the way, currently
Oh,
of land reform and rural development, and he enrolled in a school, so Lwaluko, at the age of 68. And when we followed sources, apparently the significance of it all, probably if it wasn't, apparently he's royalty, and some things he cannot do. You can't lead when you haven't gone to the mountain. But for me, I think it was the backlash from everybody on socials. What a
so
shame!
what was
Oh, yeah. Just losing the queen there. But anyway, that's yeah, got you.
what was the issue?
Well, look, obviously, we are these people that whenever something happens, we want to throw in our 2 cents worth. Um, and that shame, you did grade 12 when you were 60. You graduated when you were 78. You went to the mountain when you were 68. And my whole thing around this thing, and I think but please do share with us. And I think the biggest for me was the fact that, like, someone is doing right, someone is correcting, somebody is saying that, like, this has probably been the missing puzzle, in my life. Let's just get you back in, Queen. This is what's been missing in my life. And it's a line from Jay-Z.
Yeah.
He says, but look, I mean, look, it's an idiom. I think that's been there for quite some time. You cannot heal what you don't reveal. You know,
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
the line says you cannot heal what you don't reveal. So I feel for a lot of people, we live with shame. We live with this thing, and all of this. Go back and take a look at the stories, Sizwe Kupelo, all of these things, and like finally you do something, and particularly where this story is concerned, you are righting a wrong. You know,
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so for me, I would like to hear people's opinions about it. He's gone to the mountain at the age of 68, for the reasons that he has, but he's done it, and he's done it correctly. And
Yeah.
I don't think it was a thing Ebeyenze ecaleni, you know
Mm, mm.
he allowed the public scrutiny and everything else to happen.
But also, I mean, for me, it's so inspiring when I see the older generation doing things that are going to almost inspire young people to understand that there is no time frame for as all that
Hmm.
is right. You understand? Like, you can apply that thinking of this man goes and I mean at this particular age to your own life, or wanna look, there's hope for my dreams. I can still get that degree when I'm 50. I can
Hmm.
still, you understand. So I think it's just, I guess, sometimes people are so literal in how they they think about things.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes it's you gotta see the unspoken things. You gotta see the meaning behind the action.
Yeah.
Yeah, get so
Yeah,
caught
got a,
up in.
a message there from Umlandeli Kweja. Slice Okay, my brother. We also welcome. You can send us your, and we can see it right here on the ticker. Your message. Ukubanga mhlawumbi unoluvo. Khona into ofuna uyiphosa nawe. Kuba enye yezinto besiyithembisile si-podcast, by the way, izimane zisiza. Yinto yokubana sizawuxuba kangangoko sinako. Into esifundisileyo kwi-interview yethu no-Z is
Yeah.
that our people are actually, they had these comments abanye bebhala ecaleni. I was like, you ndithanda isiXhosa nentoni, and I was like, silokwana kanene.
Okay,
Why
macho.
not? Why not?
Okay.
Hayi sana silapha.
Balumke because that's how ukufaka isixhosa ke.
Jonga bazawuxakwa sithi.
Hayi
Bazawuxaka
sizawuxaka.
sithi. So that was the one. I think like apparently I'm just gonna read off the screen there. Notably, our reliable sources have also, this is a story from Sunday Sun, by the way. Notably, our reliable sources have also confirmed that Matabata, the deputy minister and former premier of Limpopo, who went to the bush at the age of 68, was joined at the same Koma, initiation school, by his fellow member of parliament and former Sekhukhune district mayor. So it was a premier and a mayor, Ustenli Ramayila. Both
Okay.
are housed in they were housed in a designated tent away from the other initiates. But in terms of the treatment and how they go about the whole thing, it is just like everybody else. So it was very interesting for me. And I think that's the one thing that I wanted to highlight and put out there to people is that there's a teachable moment in this,
Yeah.
apart from us as South Africans, sihleli nje, yo, hi son, umbonile khona ya all of these things. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Woo.
Keyboard warriors, that's what they are, people ready to like bring in the negative side of things.
The negative side of things. I mean, like, for it to make a headline, I had to cut that out. Yeah, I've given credit. It's from the Sunday World, but it's put under the category of political news. This is not political news. This is a social cohesion. This is
Social case, yeah.
a societal building
Social cultural issue, yes, yes.
issue.
Yeah.
For it to be put under politics. I mean, like, what's politics about? Going to the bush. But anyway, thank you for the story, Sunday World. Yeah, and moving right along, Queen. There's also this one. There's also this particular one, the potential risk of a coup in South Africa.
Okay, meaning what exactly?
It means
Are we
that
at risk?
kukhona uvukelo mbuso olungakhona. If you want to read the story while we're
Wenzani?
going on, it's right there on the ticker, people. Yeah. I don't understand. And I came out scathing as always because I do express my opinion very, very robustly and emotionally. But I try to stick to the facts as much as possible. I remember when, because I saw this this interview or press briefing that the minister was giving Ukumbuzo Saveni, the minister in the presidency, and for me it was the dilution of what this coup is, because on that particular interview, it was like there are these forces, these foreign, these nationals that are from outside South Africa that are planning a coup in South Africa, and I am thinking to myself, the timing of it all was what threw it off. Because I know for a fact that it was it 2021 with the or 22 with the riots in Durban in
Yes,
KZN.
yeah.
It caught the presidency, the army, everybody sleeping. And I
Yes.
think, I mean, and when I heard that, I just felt that this is just PR. And I
Yeah.
think it came out in her utterances as well.
Yeah.
Because now I really want to quote some of the stuff. Yeah, she was speaking on the media briefing. It was last Tuesday,
Yeah.
and addressing questions about the potential threat to South Africa. And she was quoted, "We have identified a coup and we have put measures to mitigate against it. So that is why we say to South Africans, there has not been any attempting to do a coup in South Africa. Not that no one, what? Not that no people are planning. Like just that line.
Mm.
Not that people are not planning. Like it's not South
But don't
Africans.
panic. Don't panic. Nothing
Don't
is going
panic.
to
Don't
happen.
panic.
Yeah.
Okay. And she also came out saying that like if people are gonna get out of hand after these utterances in support of Mkwanazi, the state is going to respond. And I was like, now you are mixing up
Yeah.
ish, and your PR
So,
is not
so
working.
unnecessary.
It was very unnecessary. I was like, I minister, no, 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 no. That's part.
What needs to happen is just putting South Africans at ease when there is rumors, of a threat. We need the minister and presidency to kind of put South Africa into confidence that they know what's going on,
Mm,
and be firm about it. I think the press briefing was a bit wishy-washy and not convincing,
yeah.
which is why I think people like yourself, Slyso, are left feeling like, do you actually know, what's happening? Like, are you sure?
Because we are here to probe. We are
Yeah,
here to ask questions,
yeah,
and it's very unfortunate that like that some people are gonna look at you as being negative or anti-revolutionary or whatever the hell they say when you will be speaking against, and especially, and I'm gonna be frank about it, when you speak against the African National Congress, you
yeah,
know. There is no responsibility. The people that are eating are obviously going to be the one that will go on your timeline and try to destabilize you while not answering the questions that you are raising. So, which means that this dialogue is a CKI 700 million now. It's probably going to go the same
do
direction.
not
You know,
even
you know what I
don't
mean?
get started. Don't get started on that issue. Let's not even go
We're not even
there.
going there. We're trying to be as constructive as possible, people. That is how serious we are now. That's why we even changed like our backdrop, you know,
Yeah,
to give you a different color to say like let's be calm, because that orange was like screaming at
yeah.
you.
No, we are
Like
Zen.
we are zen now. Oh, no.
Oh gosh.
Whoo, man, just a lot of stuff. I didn't have time to load his but we'll talk about, I think we'll talk about it a bit later on after we've had the motivational moment.
Okay.
But there's also this particular one, Queen. Lifestyle
Lifestyle
audits
audit.
lead to internal investigations of nearly 400 senior civil servants.
It must be nice.
Remember, just recently they were saying that, like, no, i-cabinet ikulungele i-ready into yobana makwenziwe i-lifestyle audit.
Yes.
Kwenzeka ntoni? Kwabuya nezo 2021 into yokubana there was a number, I think about 30 or something. I've got that story. I'm gonna put it up, of ministers and high-ranking government
Yes.
officials that actually were found wanting, when it comes to that, to auditing, and they were to be investigated. Now the number has grown to 400, and this comes after a question was posed in Parliament by a member of, I think, yeah, it is EFF.
Okay.
I think it is a member of EFF that said that, hey, lifestyle audits, guys, nilibele.
Yo.
Yeah,
Yo.
South Africa is a crime scene.
Wow, wow.
That's the
And
one
then what
thing I think.
happens? What happens after these lifestyle audits, Slyso?
But that's the thing. They say that lifestyle audits lead to internal investigations. What internal investigation? When you know that the rules
Yes,
say that you are supposed to declare and you are not declaring,
yes,
and now you are
yes.
found wanting. What internal? And I think that's the biggest argument. Is like, what internal processes do
Yeah,
you expect to be done? You need to go
because
sit
the
within a
audit
committee and
itself
say,
is
"Ish,
revealing evidence, right?
and say,
So,
"Ish,
how much more investigations can you do?
can you do?" And like you're asking the man, ndalibala uba ndandinikwe ibhotile yela ndikayazi. Umntanam wasokwa ngegusha eziyi-10. No. I mean, yeah. So that's gonna be internal.
Yeah.
I'm just being crazy about that. I figure inoba bezingaphi igusha phaa kulaa ndika. Laa mgidi ka-former premier. Not the premier. I'm not gonna talk about the Eastern Cape. I have no time for that. I'm talking about
Umgidi wakhe, umgidi wakhe yena.
umgidi ka-self.
No, you know what? No. No.
No, I'm just thinking, okay, now we've taken care of the serious part of this thing, but like
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, abazukulwana bakho bathini? Satano danile,
Hey.
tamkhulu yindoda.
Oh.
Na, 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 na. Sanu, tamkhulu yindoda. Satano
Kuthiwa yintoni? Kuthiwa ngumgidi ke ngoku?
inoba inelinye igama, hey? You're actually correct. I'm sure inobibizwe yini. It's the coming of age. No, it can't be coming of
Yes.
age because
Funeka ibe
age
negama
rises
engathi
one.
libunesidimanyana kaloku noko. Umgidi
And
sicinga uba fanuba lityenjana lo mfana.
kwelinye igama, I'm sure. Like uthini ufro? Yena mwami yindoda. Okay. Let me shut up before we get into trouble.
No. Yes.
We still have by the way, the Momo coming up. We still have oh man, brilliant work by the baby box, and of course Banyana, who also have a game tomorrow as well. But I think it's time maybe we check out what's going on the Momo.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because we still have that interview with Usis Nosipho, very phenomenal woman,
Yeah.
champion. I call her Queen Spakes. I
Oh.
call it the AKA the Queen of Firsts.
Mm.
She was the first black female port manager, first black. There's so many things. She breaks
So
them
many.
down. Five books.
Oh.
Yeah, so we
Wow.
definitely are going to give that one a play for people to watch. It's gonna come in 2 episodes. Remember, Toto, when we said no speaks, we were gonna say like, okay, this is gonna be 10-15 minutes. We're just gonna talk
Okay.
about the launch. Then we started
Okay.
talking about the background and me that telling, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
follow-up questions and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
Shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Beautiful.
let's head over to the Momo.
Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on yourself. It can also be a developmental crisis issue. Keep pushing and stay the course. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, my Momo people, listen. I actually have a very interesting conversation that I started on TikTok, and I want to bring it up to our viewers, the podcast here, and just hear your thoughts. This one, especially in Napaku Facebook, I hope that I get you just to share and and to talk about the dynamics that we grew up seeing. And some people are saying that this is still going on. So what I'm Slyso today is the dynamic that happens when Utobeka has a child outside of umchado, she then, finds a guy, or the guy finds her, marries her, amchate, babe, semchadwin, right? And then abe nabantwana emchadweni. I want to talk about the treatment because cookie pattern and I notice that treatment yabantwana ayifani. There is this element of abantwana bomtshado being treated in a special kind of way when compared to abantwana bafumene outside of umtshado. And there are many, many reasons, of course, that the parents themselves have for doing, things that way. There are many reasons also that people in general talk about. These are the reasons. But obviously, me being a psychologist, the reason why I want to speak about this is because I want to bring us to the awareness that what I've noticed is the psychological pain that is experienced by lomdana or abandwana who are outside of umchado when they see the parent, being a certain way with the others, treating the others in a special way, being affectionate, being loving towards Abaya, and yet is neglecting and is almost rejecting, Baba outside umchado. That is very painful. That is a very painful experience for abantwana who are outside of umchado, and it's something that I want the parents to be aware of. Now, there's a lot of dynamics that people talked about. For example, one of the reasons that people cited was, but kaloku umntana omfumene outside umtshato kuthiwa ngumntana wakokwenu, so funeka umshiye xa uhamba ke ngokuyotshata, right? And then I say, now my argument is, I can accept that, but what I'm talking about is the treatment. Does the child ofunyenwe ngaphandle umtshato not deserve to be loved, not deserve to be, treated in a special kind of way now? Is it fair now on the child to almost be cast aside as if you're not belonging, anywhere in the family? And that is what I'm trying to bring us to kind of like think about. The well-being of the child is very important. And of course, as I'm acknowledging that dynamics the families as fun, there is also now in this modern day that we're living in what we call blended families, which is another option that couples can think about. That is bringing you umntana wakho wangaphandle nomnyamzisa umntanakhe, and we blend the family and we build a family together. And then in a case where that is not an option, because sometimes umntana is with his or her mother, and there's no way of blending that or bringing that child azohlala apha. So ukulo mamakhe or ukulo tatakhe, but what I'm trying to address and push forward is that child still deserves to be treated with love by their biological parent. Lo mzali otshatileyo still has to be conscious and remember that unalamdana ungaphandle, and so whatever is happening here in this family that you are building and starting, you have to consider that child as well. So talking around things like, bring the child over for holidays, if that's possible, when you're going on holiday with your family, your nuclear family, be considerate of Lamdana as well. And of course, the dynamic of your relationship is also something that you have to manage yourself, with your spouse or with your partner. But what is important for me is that abazali have to manage their relationships in such a way that abantwana are not affected in a negative way, from a psychological point of view, because what ends up happening is that abantwana bakhula bene resentment because they feel rejected. Let's be honest. Before they feel abandoned by this parent ohambileyo wayotshata waqala enye family, right? And there's a message also there, Slyso, that is very painful for this child or shiyekayo ungahoyakalanga ubana, you know, when awukho special wena, you know, when awufunwa wena, you know, you are a reminder wena of maybe something that your parent is not proud of, you know. Omnye umuntu ke ude wayibeka ngobana uthi no, it's a projection of the resentment that the parent has of the mistake that they made when they were younger, mhlawumbe, you know, and projecting it on their child. But again, me being me, and I said, but the parent has to manage their own emotions and deal with their own guilt, you know, and deal with the shame of their own actions, but and not at the expense of the child, to make sure that that child is still given the opportunity, you know, to be loved, to be, you know, treated fairly, you know, equally as the other kids. So I guess what I'm trying to drive today, without dragging it too long, is that singabazali, as parents, it is our responsibility to make sure that the love and attention is distributed equally when it comes to, you know, children. That there is no favoritism that happens, you know, that there is no, there's no intentional pain that is inflicted, that is the psychological pain that I'm talking about, on a child, because every child deserves to grow up being loved. And of course, proximity doesn't matter, you know. The child doesn't have to be with you here all the time, but the child needs to know that they are loved, you know, they are wanted, they are important, and that will also help them to be able to build a closer bond with their siblings. Okay, and so I think that when it comes to this dynamic, we can definitely do better. And then I'm also wanting to also wonder, because I don't think it is a custom or a tradition. I think it's a culture. And my understanding is that a culture can change. Kuthiwa i-culture into yokubana you know, funeka ndihambe mna ndihambe ndiyotshata ndiyoqala umzi wam phaa ndimshiye umntanam. I think we can start another culture that says, ubana I'm not going to leave my child behind. I'm not going to make my child feel, you know, rejected because I'm trying to appease. Because that's what it seems like to me, that ngoku funeka ndiyopretenda uba ndiyintombi phaa so that I can be accepted kulaa mzi, you know, nditshatwe ndishiye lo mntana. And that's not fair on the child, you know, according to my understanding. And if it's a culture thing, I'm saying that we definitely have to change this culture, because culture changes over time. The culture, you know, is influenced by us, by people, you know, and if it's not serving, you know, the children, and it's not serving, you know, our society, because these children, they're going to grow up and be, you know, adults now in this community, in these families. So we don't want to raise angry, resentful children at the end of the day. And that's my story for today. And I'm sticking to it. I want to hear Tifunuva. Banicinga ntoni nina ngale, you know, ngale nto yokutshata sowunomntana umshiye, or, you know, angahoyakali by their biological parent, by the way. And I don't want us to get distracted, because abanye abantu started speaking about the stepmother, the stepfather, and I'm not talking about those dynamics yet. I'm just talking about you as a biological parent. What is your responsibility in making sure that your children are treated, you know, differently? They receive love and affection from you as a parent equally.
Sure. No. This one is heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy in a lot of fronts, and especially when I heard you talking about you know, uyahamba uyotshata ushiye umntana wakho ngasemva, and all of these things, and people do, you know, omnye uyenza because mhlawumbi ke ayingomuntu bezixelela ubuza kwenza loo nto leyo, uyafuna kwaziwe uba udibene nam ndinomntana, but ufike ithethwa le nto ngelaa xesha ungekazi nalo mntana, okanye mhlawumbi usaziswa into yobana yosana ifana nabantwana, ufike okwala mntana kantombi Themba wayanomntana emzini, where and all of these things. So it comes from a whole lot of different fronts. It comes from onomdade bakho comes
Yes.
from all of your community of people. Sometimes you have conservative friends,
Yes. Yes.
um, that are not willing to face the reality of saying,
And
and it
when that's Slyso kudala sikhula also, some kids didn't even know that umama ke nguloya uye wayotshata. They get to know that at a later stage.
umntu
Bakumakhulu
semdala.
as the parent. Goes them that, ukhula sithi mama kumakhulu, knowing that umakhulu wakhe ngumama wakhe, because
Mm.
ayithethwa afunekanga ambize mama lo, because uyoba ngumama ngaphaya. And for
Wow.
me, more than anything, I mean, abantwana bethu sibakhulisa nomakhulu notamkhulu, and there's nothing wrong. And I want us to not get so caught up into, do we leave abantwana nomakhulu? And because a lot of us grew up with our grandparents, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just talking about treatment. I'm talking
Mm.
about you as a parent being conscious of the fact that unomntana oshiyekileyo phaya, unomntana onaye outside umtshado. How do you, when as a parent, make sure that the treatment that you give kwaba is the same kwabaya?
Iphinde napha ku-brothers naye. Kaloku anamntana mna,
Yeah,
and that's a resentment, umntu
yes.
akuthanda adibane nawe unomntana, and then the next thing, masithani ka ube
Expectation
namntana,
changes all of a
ufike
sudden when we're
emtreata
talking about
kakubi
marriage.
umntana wakho.
Yeah, Yvonne. Yeah, Yvonne.
Mm.
And then
That's a
what
very
was also
interesting.
concerning, someone made a comment that was disturbing for me. Someone said, but sometimes uyamshiya umntanakho because you don't trust this person who's amphatha kakuhle. And I thought to myself,
Ubusiyaphi? Uyaphi
why are
kulo
you when I self, because what do you mean? What do you mean uzawuthatha umuntu ongamtrustiyo with umntanakho? That doesn't make sense to me. So no.
Wow.
I wouldn't get that.
Very interesting. And obviously, your views once again.
Yes.
Okay. 079 600 5805. That's our WhatsApp line. And I think, like, to make this podcast sexy, don't just do voice notes, do a video of yourself, like, mna olwam uluvo sana. We want to make you famous. All right. But it's a very interesting one, man, Toto. And I don't think it's a conversation that people can and should have kubekanye, and then that's the end
No.
of it, and then, like, we,
Yeah.
we we move on, because it happens ngendlela ezahlukileyo kuzo zonke
Yes.
izinto, from how you
Yes.
feel as the mother usiza kulo mzi, iphinde
Yes.
ibe ngulo mfana uThabo ozawuthi yena namntana loku mna, yabo.
Yes. Yes.
Anamntana loku mna. Kutheni ungenza ubhatala ii-holidays abantwana, mthatha umse kokwenu,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
lo mntu is ucompete for i-attention yakho, i-space
Yeah.
sakho. I do understand. They say a lot. Excuse me. Into yokubana even with your child, let's say you both the biological parents,
Yeah.
your child number 3 kule equation, ngoba ibe ipartner yakho umntana,
Yeah.
that time will never go away. This
Yeah.
thing is not going to change unless you want it. So incorporate lo mntu ukhoyo,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
because I mean, what's the point of going on a holiday with an unhappy wife or an unhappy husband or boyfriend,
Yeah.
eshiya umntana wakhe ngasemva,
Yeah.
because this person
Well,
is not going to fully enjoy
assuming
his
that
life.
they are unhappy, because sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're willingly happy to leave the children behind.
Wow, guys. Yeah, there you have it, people. I think apho siyakhona siyakuvutha undaba apho sobe sincokola conversation I had with ulantika usis Nosipho Damasane. Very phenomenal woman, very phenomenal. That's the thing about me, like, I just love this thing.
You
People
just
is like,
have
"Ah,
like
uthini
good
na
people around you.
unechoma ezingamantombazana." You've got, like, there are people who are emotionally balanced between the
Yeah.
two sexes, ukodlula abantu ababhinqileyo. Tina, we are very practical. It's like, so got talent money, bambe ngomlenze uyibethe ifake ibhandi. You know, a lady's gonna sit there and say, did you, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were gonna say something.
Screenshot because
It's like my promo. Actually, we're gonna make a promo out of it because I think as we go along, we have Women's Month coming up. Apho sizawuphinda sibaxeshe khona obhuti notata so that we know our role. And one thing, don't make a mistake and think that uSlyso noThobeka are perfect belapha. You know, we are here with opinions and correction measures and professionally where you are concerned, Getoto, because you know, when they say like experience is the best teacher, we're not here sitting and saying that perfect. We probably went through the same thing, you know, where we didn't like the partner's child or whatever. Don't think like it's directed at you, but it's a conversation that is necessary for us to be a better nation, to be better parents, to be better employees and employers, because the key is family.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, ndichilo ndathi ndizawubuyela to all the other stuff that took place. We're gonna start here, right? Even Erasmus said that, like, as a Slyso, my team didn't. They fumbled. They fumbled. Amapokopoko. Amapokopoko. No. Bebethi ecaleni, especially in the first half, playing against Georgia. But they managed to turn things around. Turn things around. I think the last two tries, they were just showing off because the score less than 5 minutes before he came in, you know. Yeah, and I think I chose this picture. Jonga uFaf bangasiwa mhlawumbi. I'm just trying to think of a lounge or indawo yolonwabo yabantu babo.
uFafu jonga uyivibe nje engenye.
Engathi singashiywa apha ecaleni ngo-sisters.
Jonga loo nto leyo futhi ayinamsebenzi bana emfutshane eyila esayiyo iyathandeka qha.
Ngendawo leyo Faf is Faf qha yi-energy laa nto kuthiwa no DNA just South Africa. I think ubetha kwezaa zitu. But a very beautiful one. And of course, Kenon or Moody, this boy that is on this picture, he is the one to watch. Right next to Maglema Pimpi Epelileyo, he was deadly. He was phenomenal. He was on point. And the build, and I think part of what a lot of people were talking about was how he is spoiled for choice. Because what coaches are going to 9 changes for the next game. Bazawuthi sibukele elandelayo ngoku kuphinde kube kutshintshwe isquad sonke.
Yes.
But
I was just actually appreciating how, you know, even Central squad, it doesn't feel like, you know, it just feels like you form yes Springboks. I mean, I think they are just at their best right now. You know, they're born at their own levels. It's such a beautiful to watch them.
And gone bukhona umuntu ongathatha i-Springboks for now, and given the team that Urasi has. And of course, it was also these boys over here, Zabuya Gezona City. We're going to do one better. Susan Patela, World Cup under 20
championship.
in South Africa. You see how old school we are.
Wow.
Poisons, man. And you know, ndive umntu esithi you know, over and above or coach when it comes to under 20, because ngabantwana aba basanda uphuma esikolweni esithi you know abazali mababulelwe for supporting abantwana babo, esithi otishara, you know, mababulelwe, the school, provincial coaches, and all of these people that made sure in Dokbana they have this hungry young under 20 boys that are going to go take up a team like in New Zealand. And after I think the last time it was 2012, right? I'm sure it's on the ticker there. I'm gonna put it up
Yeah.
for us to check it out because they were just the baby box were just phenomenal as well. There's a boy from Epai, ngubani nguMoyo. Moyo, I think it's Moyo. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know Yakab.
Ne?
I know Yakab. So it was very phenomenal. But I think my peak of the weekend, when it comes to sports, guys, come on. Come on.
Oh,
Kuzawuthi
oh,
bias kwakhona ke Thotho.
oh, of course.
Kuzawuthi
Of
bias
course.
kwakhona. Yes, they
Banyana,
played.
banyana.
Yeah. Yes, they played to a 1-all draw. And then they had penalties and the
Yeah,
confidence in kicking that ball, those goals.
yeah.
The goalkeeper, oh man. Yeah, but they have a tough one now.
Yeah.
That they are facing in the semi-final. They're facing Nigeria tomorrow. I think a game kalango 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Again, you know what? I just want to say this. I'm always very conscious of the marketing when it comes to our sports teams and the gender bias that goes on. I think I spoke about this. I don't remember. I think season one.
Yeah.
Again, when
Yeah.
we were talking about sports. I just feel like they could do better because the bonile in ad VW, a beautiful ad got VW banyana banyana, and I was just like, but
Is it
I
enough?
just feel like it's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm not sure whether it's issue of sponsorship when I Slyso, so I don't know. But just the
I don't think they
airplay.
have an official sponsor.
I
I
mean,
don't even think they have an
in
official
terms of
sponsor.
just airplay for me, like we just we're gonna push the marketing side of things in a much fairer way. I am just pleading, please do
Mm.
better.
Yeah. Speaking of such, you reminded me. I want to take my hat off to SABC Sports, but particularly on radio to SAFM because throughout this campaign,
Mm,
um, they have these promotions that they are running, like tapping into the personalities of the players. What do you do when you are relaxed? What would you do if you were to win 10
yeah,
million? And you can hear how close and how passionate they are. And then one was like, if I were to win 5 million, I would share it with the team, even though it was a
yeah,
joke. But like this, that
yeah.
spirit is there.
Mm,
And I think yeah, we have to salute SAFM for those running promos throughout this campaign. But one other thing I wanted to, we need to wrap up. Another thing that was just phenomenal for me, speaking about this team, or about these games that we come from this weekend, when
mm,
is looking at. I know that Bafana didn't play. Looking at Rassi Erasmus, his relationship with his team, the individual attention that is given to the players.
yes,
When a
yeah,
coach speaks of somebody who's out of form or who has had an injury, and now, like, I think videos are allowed to an extent, you can see when he's talking and is relating to these guys that this person is almost like a father figure. And
yeah,
which is the very same thing that I picked up with the phenomenal Desiree Ellis, the
yes,
coach, Banyana Banyana. When she speaks, she's not speaking about people who are there, who are superstars.
yeah,
They can be superstars when they get front pages on newspapers and stuff. But Babelapha Kuye, when she talks about them, she's talking about abantwana bakhe, like by family yakhe. And
yeah,
quite recently as well, as much as Bana they haven't played in a minute, but Bafana has also been improving.
yeah,
And I noticed there in the Bana, like Hugo Bruce, like the coach, also has that father figure type of thing. Bana,
mm,
like like my dad and my mom would say in the Bana, "Yaba celebrity pa kwa Satan." Not
Yes. Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's almost like they're given that parental kind of vibe, and I think
It's so important.
all of these teams are showing us in the field of play that they actually have something far more that celebrates not just their talent or their ability, but also their emotional, maturity or
Yeah.
side, which is very important. I wanted to ask you a professional, how important that is, because I do feel that like it does something psychologically when you have that phenomenal
Yeah.
support from your teacher, from your boss at work, from your, a boss who's going to ask you, how are the kids doing,
Yes.
and all of that. How important is that?
Look, I wanted to say this before this question you emphasized. I was actually reading, what book was I reading? But they were talking about also or Ronaldo, and how successful they've become. And what people don't know is the coach, the style the coach takes with the players. Very
Hmm.
important. And they were tapping exactly into what you were saying. So one of the coaches that they talk about, and I forget his name now, is that he knew exactly what's happening with the
Oh
family,
man.
and he will engage, with his players in that way, just to tap into that, that feeling of pride, because we have an attachment with our families, like it or not, and I think for a coach to take time to know the people that matter to you, it means that he cares more about you than just winning the game. And that is, that's very important for us as humans. We want to know that, as much as they say, as much as I'm where, I'm this player and I have to, do 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get these points and all of that. But there is also meaning that has to be created. It has to be
Hmm.
meaningful. And for things to be
Hmm.
meaningful, we have to tap into what is important to Slyso, because yes, this is what he needs to get to us to give us the results, but what is important to him. So we tap into, the meaning that is attached to people attached to their existence and why they get involved into, their work and what they do. And so I think that it's such a brilliant way to actually tap into the motivational side. And motivation is not about giving people speeches and Bible verses.
Hmm.
No, it's about going in deep into what is close to their hearts. So creating meaning is one of I think it's a classical psychological actually term that is used, that we have to tap into why people do what they do. Who
What
are
they
they doing it
do.
for? Yes, because there's also what drives us is relationships, and we have to tap into those relationships that matter to us. What does it matter? Who do you want to live this for? Maybe it's society.
It's almost like purpose.
Yes, the purpose, exactly.
Hmm.
So for me, I think that's exactly what they are doing, is they are tapping into, cultivating the meaning and purpose of why people do, and the players, of course, why they play.
Oh, wow. I guess if you're a coach, if you're listening right now, actually try a different approach. It's not gonna work. Useless. Mntwana lena, oh,
No,
kodwa ufana
yeah,
notata, utata akho naye wayinjeni. Kusadlala. You're not helping a child when you do that,
yeah,
and I think positive affirmations are very important. It doesn't matter what you do, whether it's at work, whether it's socially with your people, and it's amazing. I think they say it takes what, 20 days or something to build a habit, or am
yes,
I?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
at least
90. What is 90 days? 90 days.
90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You just tell yourself, like, I'm just gonna give myself this time
Yeah.
to be positive. Watch the way I talk to people. That's
Yeah.
one of those things. I keep talking about it. And it was like, for me, when I was going through a slump, like everybody does, and blaming myself and blaming the world around me and blaming everything else, for things not going right. It took me having to change the way I talk, the way I speak, you
Yeah.
know Whereas I'm like, why are you waking up and already telling yourself that like something is gonna go wrong, or 12 o'clock I'm in the appointment you'll be till,
Exactly.
oh I'm not feeling good and like thinking. But if you were, because the brain is a sponge, this thing like can be shaped and changed and all of that. If you
Yeah.
were to train that muscle every day for 90 days to say that like I'm gonna be positive, I'm gonna take a few moments before I respond and
Yeah.
actually try to figure in the banner, how is this going to make the other person feel, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Because we just walk around like, yeah, I'm having a crap day. So now and yeah, son.
Mm.
Work like that, guys. That's the
Sure.
only way we can change this. Man, we've been talking about it. To advertise, please email us on sales at slicer.co.za. Yep. And a whole lot of other things, man. I hope this video is ready, Toto.
It seems. It seems.
I hope it is ready. Yes, it is. Let's load it. Lock and load it.
Welcome to it,
This is the
ladies and
conversation
gents.
that we
You've
had,
heard
and it's
that.
actually going to be it's going to be part one, because as I said, we thought we were just going to have like a short I thought we were gonna have like a short thingy, and then I realized that when oh Queen speaks I no Siateta Chef.
Oh,
Um yeah, this is a very phenomenal woman. I should be playing her intro before I start. She's written 5 books. She's launching the fifth one now. I think it's 29th of July. She has this I don't know whether I'm giving it away, but her love and passion for women. She would
yeah.
go back at Tigeni, I mean in Ngoshwa,
Yeah.
where she comes from, Tigeni, and gather Bandwana. I think I've spoken to you
Mm.
about her.
Yeah.
She's written books that specifically speak to empowering a young manager, or anyone who's working in the corporate, especially women. And you're gonna hear on the interview where she speaks about the fact that sometimes you are this bold Toto, you walk into this new environment, and
Mm.
your voice is drowned by the
Yeah.
fact that like you are female, by the fact
Yes.
you go in and you're qualified for this. At
Mm.
one point I asked her, because she was the first black female port manager East London.
Sure.
All of those things. Like her philosophy in these 2 parts. We're gonna play it now, and we're gonna play another one that we'll post on thingy. How she talks about like Slyso, I would spend time and say that I would like to speak to so and so. I would spend all of this time and say, I'm not gonna meet this person in a boardroom you know
Mm. Yeah.
I don't want to give it off, but like it's a gender's now a minister, but at the time she needed to have an appointment with him, and he was like, okay, what time do you have? Okay, what time are you doing? Okay, like thingy.
Mm.
So
Mm.
she went to this place that the minister, well, MEC back at the time, I think, was at, and she sat there, and then she got up and she walked over to him, and like, excuse me, sir, I'd like to talk to you about but
Mm.
like obviously anybody's gonna be like, this is supposed to be my me time. But
Yeah.
eventually, because of what she was speaking of, and he was knowledgeable about it, and he knew that like the country needed some rescuing and all of that. So they afforded at the time. So she's very unconventional in her approach, and
Sure.
she's very passionate about women. Ladies and gents, as think as we are going to call it, Toto and I'll be back to close it off. It's a 10 minutes, because we spoke when I had to edit 44 minutes of us talking.
I
Um,
yeah. Man. Ay.
yeah, I know. See, look. So without wasting any more time, Queen, we're gonna go to that. But you didn't share about that beautiful thing that you were doing with
No, now
the
I'm excited. Now I can't wait to hear this interview. Let's talk about this one. Let's
let's
get
do that.
this one.
All right, my Queen.
Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You've heard that intro. Igama lakhe Nosipho Damasane. And that's who we're having a conversation with. Sisi,
Hi,
how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. And how are you doing?
I'm very well. Ke kwafuneke ndifumane umphako, khangele noba khona 2 liter yekwetsa, just reading your profile. Just briefly about umuntu ongamaziyo Nosipho.
I'm just a girl from Pedi. Pedi is a rural area that is a small town that is between Grahamstown and King Williamstown. And most people can actually miss it, but it's a tiny dot. But it's actually produced a very interesting talent for this country because I think we grew up in surroundings where education was the key thing to do. I also come from a family where my dad was also an author and a teacher, and my mom was a nurse. So we grew up in a very strict home where there's no work for girls and work for boys. So we went to the deep for the cows on Thursday mornings, which meant waking up at 3 a.m. to make it for the deep at 4:30. So our brother did what we did, and we did what he did.
That's very interesting, and just the background on your father being an author and your mom a teacher, it explains a lot about structure and probably your attraction to advancement education. I'm sure that's where you get it from as well.
Yeah. In fact, I was saying to somebody the other day that at home, I think they actually, in my family broadly, they actually wonder why you have not gone to school. So it's not a big thing that you actually gone to school and you're educated. You should be. That's the expectation, yes. When you haven't, you become the exception.
Now, with all that education, you just decided you're going to delve into a predominantly male space, because I think you have a lot of background in logistics and particularly in the automotive space.
In fact, yeah. So I didn't start there. When I finished at varsity, I actually did my articles. I worked for KPMG today. It was Aiken and Pitt then, and Ernst & Young. It was also very male-dominated. And it was actually still very racially segregated because before independence. So I think that's where I cut my teeth and I had to be strong. And then subsequent to that, then I came into logistics by chance because they were looking for somebody with a financial background, but it had to be a woman. That's when women were introduced.
Wow, which basically speaks to intentionality. Round about what year is this?
This is 1998.
Yeah.
So it's 4 years post-independence, and I think they were deliberate. Where the legislation was there already, and then I think there was also a very deliberate effort to get women into mainstream businesses in hard corporations. So I started off as a port manager in East London, a job that was never done by a woman before globally. So I was a guinea pig. Nobody really prescribes to you what to do, but it's a very interesting question you ask, because the first thing is when I got there I was pregnant. So as soon as I accepted the job and I told them I was pregnant, they were like, "Oh, we've already paid for you to go and train in Singapore." So I induced the baby, cesarean operation, and 10 days later I was in Singapore. And I left the baby here at home. So I don't want anybody to ever do that, by the way. I think it's stupid, but at the time it had to be done.
Hold on, Queen Speaks. What is the time frame between?
Well, I was in and out. I was in and out of the country in that first year of her growth because you just had to learn from outside to come back and implement internally. And it was difficult. I think those days, your emotional intelligence was tested at a very young age because you had to think about the other women coming after you. Because if you're the first woman and you're saying, "I'm pregnant, I'm not coming," who is going to employ us? So it was not about me.
A woman again because they're going to fall pregnant and
we waste money and we're going to struggle. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it was bigger than me. And then when I got the question you're asking about overalls is when I got into the ports, I knew nothing about ports. I didn't know what a TEU was. There was no Google. I didn't know what a quayside was. I didn't know the difference between a quay and a quayside. So after a couple of weeks, I decided to actually just go and stay with the old guys on the ground, wear my reefs and wear my overalls and get them to teach me properly how this thing comes together in my language, not in English. Wow. And that helped me a lot. And I also adopted the strategy to collaborate with my existing managers, because I had 10 senior managers, all white,
Sure.
and I was the only female. And then we introduced one guy, Unjeza, and then it was also Sanjay was colored, and it was Indian. And so it was people who have been in the harbor since they were 17 years old. And therefore, my approach was, because it's easy for people to turn into imposter syndrome when that happens, and then you become arrogant. So for me, it was more like, I'm going to collaborate with them.
Wow. Because often, I mean, like if you're going to be thrown in the deep end, obviously the imposter syndrome, and that leads to your failure, because you like, why did I mean, you probably even blame the people who gave you the opportunity.
Alternatively,
like they were setting me up for failure.
Alternatively, you become very arrogant. And say, I'm here because I qualified. Because fact of the matter is, they wanted somebody with finance and I have it. So you actually get there and say, that's why I'm employed, I'm the boss here. So some people fail because of the arrogance, some people fail because they lose their voice completely. And I didn't quite know all these terms I'm talking about then. I was just practicing. It was like really trial and error. So I thought, I'm going to collaborate with management so that we make decisions together. And I'm going to go to the ground and learn what operations are about. And that was my winning ticket.
So to an extent, you're given an opportunity. Now I'm going to prolong this interview because I've got a lot of stuff that I need to ask you. Leading follow-up questions from what you're talking about. You are given an opportunity. Somebody believed in you, at HR or when they were interviewing you and say, here's our perfect candidate. And then you get in there and you have this, you all shelled. So you are also failing the person who afforded you that opportunity. As you say, the women that come after you, with all of this. You mentioned, because I want us to be as brief as possible, because I want to get to we are going to have a lot of you on the podcast, by the way, ladies and gents. We are going to make sure, I don't know where we're going to get the money for the invoices. Your father was an author, and you have, I think you're on your 5th book now?
I've just launched my 5th book in March.
Yeah.
And what drives me to write is a passion for development of other women. When you come first and you see what you go through, you actually try to get other people to avoid some of those mistakes. So I'm very much of a storyteller and a teacher. And it's easy for people to actually, in a very simple English approach, so that it's readable. And it's more like, my books are more guides. So you can actually go and plug and play. And move on in the workplace in terms of what we do. Actually, my 4th book is a pure guide. Yeah, so I'm trying to. My daughter calls me a corporate missionary.
I tend to agree with her.
So yeah, so it's more than, I think most people, because I'm a keynote speaker, and whenever I actually went out to speak very early in my age, everybody wants me to mentor them, and then I thought, rather than doing that, let me write books. And then
rather than having individual
because
people,
I can do individual people, but at least I can control it, because you can read in the book. So I've just trusted my readers with my life, with my first book, and shared the ups and downs, and I've been doing that throughout all 5 books. There's something that you will learn, that it doesn't happen to you alone. When you feel something, you feel like you're not alone, because we also went through those. And then I give you a toolkit in each book, in terms of what tools can you use to actually survive corporate.
How do we gain access to
They are all online, and the links are on my website, nosiphodamasane.com. When you go in there, you'll find all the programs. I've got an ecosystem of leadership development, unapologetically or intentionally focusing on women, but I do mentor and coach men, but I'm very deliberate about women. And therefore, I've got a podcast, and then I have masterclasses. I speak, like I said, mostly in women events. And then I actually do, I now do the leadership table. I've just launched the leadership table, which is a program that's focusing on women again at a particular level, and we'll talk about it. So the stuff that I do is very much, I do team building, I do employee engagement, but everything I do in this line of leadership development is about getting teams together and getting leaders to get their voice back or not
All
lose
I'm
their
learning
voice.
and I'm impressed by it's leadership, leadership, leadership. It doesn't matter where you are, meaning you are fostering, because in most cases, people get into jobs and they basically don't have leaders. It's like you're thrown in the deep end and you have no one to guide you. If you have an issue you want to report to HR, or
Yeah.
you are going on maternity leave, you don't know all of these things. If you feel you are being segregated against, or so I would like to believe that the books cover
Yeah.
such issues.
Yep, right there. I just had to make sure 'cause, I wanna leave you still wanting to see and hear more.
Ah,
Yeah.
yo.
Guys,
Now
I come
I
across
want to
these
go
people.
buy. I am definitely buying. I must get a book. I must get my hands on her books because, jeez, jeez,
Yeah.
she's
It's
just
it's 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 it's
like,
it's 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 cray. And to think, and for me, to come across people that are so phenomenal and they are within reach, they have this passion
yes,
and
yes,
over and above, like they go the extra mile. The way she's so in tune.
yeah,
She
yeah,
starting a podcast. She's
yeah,
available on all these social media platforms, and
yes,
it's all part of a person with a wealth of knowledge, that she's just burning to share it with
yes,
other. Yeah, I think as you picked up in the banner, like she was the first this, she was the first this.
yes,
And last week, just literally last week, I wanted to have a meeting with her. She was in Cape Town. And then I was like, okay, cool. When you come back from Cape Town, and then she came back from Cape Town, I was like, Sly, on a flight to Durban. I'm like, I Queen's Gate now, what? And she was going to receive an award there.
oh,
Yeah. So to come across like
so
people like this.
inspiring. These are the kind of things that the podcast, you know what, makes it worthwhile. Honestly, so inspiring.
Yeah. I was
Thank
I
you.
was speaking to a student from Verts, just to end off. I was speaking to a student from Verts today. And this young man has so much passion,
Yeah.
for development. He had a dream of becoming as, but it's like, okay, cool. Now that we could be doing this, that could be, and it's like,
Yeah.
but it's like if we can go, abantwana bayazi into yokubana, ayipheleli phaa kula 3 years. Umzekelo, if ufuna uba yi-chartered accountant, ayipheleli phaa kula
Yes.
junior degree. You have to do articles. You need to go these bodies that you need to register with and stuff like that.
Yes.
I can put you on with lecturers, and people, a UJ that you can speak to. And I was like, watch tonight's episode, and you are going to
Yeah.
tell me, in Dokbana, you are not watching and listening to a podcast that really is about change. That is going to be an
Mm.
encyclopedia for people growing up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Quinn, we've been at it.
Jeez. You know what? And for now, see Moshe, that interview for me is just like
Nice
cherry
one.
on top. Like, cut, we can go.
That's just part one. That's just part one, and we've managed to convince each other that she's actually gonna be a phenomenal regular contributor, as much as she's starting her own
Oh, yes.
her own podcast, and she's been invited by other phenomenal women as well in the business space. And
Yeah.
she had one case where a person, was disgruntled and things were not happening, and like, yeah. So Ximba Jongo uzawunyuka so xa when you're climbing the ladder, there are challenges on all sides of things. So
Yeah.
maybe just try to look about ungayingena njani, from other, and like she has
Yeah.
results. It's like real time for me. I've never seen anything like that. So yeah, let's not mosher it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quinn, thank you so much. What's up for you this coming few?
Well, my, children, not so much children, since we are back into the swing of things again. Second semester is going to be kicking off there by my primary job.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're getting ready for being busy again. But I'm trying to also now, I think when Slyso, I've been a bit relaxed. I'm trying to actually consciously get myself to pushing my private practice.
Yes, I remember you said.
Yes, so I'm working on trying to revamp and looking at getting a website for my private practice and just getting things more professional on that side. So yeah, that's my primary focus because we got to get that stream income coming, people.
It's gonna be popping, cuz.
Ka-ting,
It's
ka-ting,
gonna be
ka-ting.
popping. And of course, for your private engagement with our counseling psychologist, people, Msengana Tobeka at gmail.com. And of course, 073-421-3360. That's how you can get in contact with her. If you have an issue, as you can hear, she's very passionate about young people. So especially for parents who are struggling, and obviously, yeah, I don't,
There's
I don't know.
everybody. Couples therapy. I'm trained actually, in narrative therapy. I am very much capable of assisting couples, and it's very important for me. It's always one thing that I must tell my clients all the time is that causa with therapy, you must be clear. I can't tell you what the problem is. You need to have figured that out. Why you come to therapy, and so I'm lucky. I think I was trained at a time where it was basically just being given thorough training on different pockets of psychology. So couples counseling, individual assessment for kiddies. So you end up just deciding which one you're going to focus on at a particular time with the client. And developmental issues with abantwana esikoleni who are struggling, with learning issues. I can assist there with assessments and getting things done to make sure that the child is assisted properly. But like you said, my passion being particularly teenagers and young adults, that's my space. I love working with those people. Very difficult bunch.
Challenging.
Yeah, very
I can
challenging.
imagine.
Yeah, but I think I've found my niche when it's like, so it's there. I have something in me that can connect with young people, and I'm just not afraid to say that I'm very good when it comes to teenagers and young adults. So
Do you
definitely.
still have your radio gig with True?
Yes, yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on, here's a platform.
Yes. And yeah, last wasn't it's so random these days now. It's like
For sure.
but it's a beautiful space also that I get exposed to, and again reach a wide audience, just like the podcast here, and get to advertise my services. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, ladies and gents, that is it. I am not sure what I am going to be doing. Supposed to be off to Cape Town to assist the Zintembusi Foundation with feeding the homeless. And it's something that she's definitely going to be doing until the end of winter. And people, I mean, like, we don't want to make these calls quite often, for people to assist and stuff like that. So if you have clothes you need to discard, if you've got, like, something that you want to contribute, call us at Gambosi, send her a message, send me a message, because we're doing this up until end of winter. And we also will be taking a look at some programs for Women's Month in August. Yeah, so there's just that, and also just making sure that we level up as far as the podcast is concerned. Yeah, I think that's it from my end. And please, people, do use our WhatsApp line for feedback, whatever it is that you would like to share with us. Sifuno improve kangangoko sinako, like, if you have a phenomenal person that in your neighborhood who makes all the difference, those are the people that we want to bring closer to the podcast, so that we can speak about, we can have conversations with those people. Queen, thank you very much. We've stretched it. Thank you so much, McQueen. Until next time, and to the viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget that we're still going to have the second episode of that interview with us. Yeah, man.
I can't wait.
Thank you,
See
Queen.
you.